I was ready for him to just keep on singing. I don't know about y'all. I do appreciate the opportunity to come tonight and speak to you for just a few moments, and good to see you tonight. And it's good to be in the house of God. It's good to be in a country where we can just come and sit and worship and not have to worry about somebody coming in and dragging us out and hauling us off to jail, and just to live in what I think is still the greatest country in all the world. And I go around making a lot of speeches these days and speak in a lot of different places, and I talk about a lot of things that are wrong with America. But I still believe in all my heart that this is the greatest country in all the world. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else than the United States of America. And I appreciate seeing Johnny Floyd. Johnny, it's good to see you. Johnny and I served in the state legislature together, and he's a good friend, and he is a good representative in this area, and has done a good job for many, many more years than I did. But Johnny, we appreciate you being here. Brother Mason, I'm glad to see him again. I was down there in Graceville when he was up in Decatur, and I was the first time I took a class in Graceville, I was one of two students. And they would have a group project to do, and Mason was working with about half a dozen guys, and more than that, and I was working with one other guy. Next time I went to take a class in Graceville, I was the only one, so when they did group projects, Mason had a group up there, 5 or 6 guys, or 7 or 8, and I had a group of 1. So I decided it was just a whole lot easier to drive to Atlanta than it was to drive to Graceville. So I started going up there and to finish the doctoral work, and if you've never been through that, it is a job. It really is. But I learned a lot, and I really, I know I did. I enjoyed the doctoral work a lot more than I enjoyed the MDiv work. Absolutely. Because it was really focused on kind of your feet on the ground, what we were doing every day. I appreciate Don Cole and Leslie just about as much as I appreciate anybody in this whole world. And Don has been one of my best friends, and Don, as you well know, probably a lot of you know, Don had ideas about running for Congress himself. And Don and I were down in Thomasville one evening when I got up and told the congregation, or told the local Republican meeting there that I was going to run for Congress. And Don was standing there, and he said, well, let me talk to you a little bit. So we got to talking about who was going to run for Congress, and we got to get Don. And this is the kind of person Don was. He said, Mike, I've already got a trip planned to Washington. He said, why don't you just come with me? And we'll just go together. So 2 Baptist preachers got together and tried to decide who was going to run for Congress. So we went to Washington. We prayed about it while we were up there. We spent 2 or 3 days up there, and we came back. And pretty much we decided that I was going to run and that Don was going to do all he could to help me get there. And he has been 100% behind us. And he has sacrificed himself. And he sacrificed his business. He sacrificed a lot to be there for me, and I couldn't have asked for anybody to do any more. And I appreciate Don and being here and Leslie. And if you ever ask him about doing anything, if he has anything to do with his peace, he'll tell you. I can't do anything now because we've got peace practice. I got my peace I got to take care of. And so he'll tell you right quick. And but I enjoy the music. It's great. And I tell you what, was this offertory, was that just for me?
Have that all the time.
Man, I'm telling you. At least none of those keys on that piano get neglected. Every one of them. But no, that was great. Kathy and I have been in ministry 35 years. I've always been the pastor. She's always been the minister of music. And we have been blessed to work together all those years. And we love music. Kathy is a great musician. And she and I went to seminary and graduated together after we got married. And we've been blessed. We love good music. That was great. It really was. Both of you. Thank you. I want to just kind of share a testimony with you tonight about how a preacher gets into politics. Because I get a lot of calls and they want me to come speak, and people will say, okay, if it's Kiwanis Club or something like that, they'll say, okay, Mike, we know you're a preacher and we don't want a sermon. And, we know you're a politician and we don't want a political speech. So I'm like, well, do you really want me to come? What else is there? You know, I mean, I'm a preacher and I'm running for office. I don't have a whole lot. You want me to talk about the dogs or the kids or what you want me to talk about? And so, I put together really just a testimony about how a preacher gets into politics. And the scripture that I always go back to is 2 Corinthians 5:7, where it says, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." You know, that there ought to be something different about God's people that people can see. That sometimes we do the craziest things, like do what God asked us to do, when it looks like it might be an impossibility. And so tonight I want to just talk about that a little bit. How does a preacher get into politics? Well, that's a good question. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself, first of all. I'm 56 years old. I've been married to Kathy for 37 years. We met when we graduated from college. She came from high school. She came from Cairo up to Tipton to go to ABAC, and I came from Cherokee County in North Georgia to go to ABAC. And we met there. I think it was about the second day we were in class. We met. And she led me to the Lord in October, and then I tell people she drugged me down the aisle in December. And that's the truth. It was one of those things where she saw me, she had to have me, and nothing else would do. And you can tell by looking at us who got the best end of this deal. But she did lead me to the Lord. And we were married 3 months later. My dad, when I was growing up, worked for the federal government. We moved around a lot. Every time he got a raise, we had to move. So we were born in Georgia, moved to Arizona, then back to Georgia, then to Florida, West Virginia, Mississippi, and back to Georgia. And that was before I graduated from high school. In grades 1 through 12, I went to 10 different schools.